Right, it is time to look at what I've been watching or the last five-ish films you've seen. Hey everyone, it is Shannon and I'm super excited to be here today. I looked back and I realized I haven't done a video about any movies in a while, and I have watched a fair amount of movies, so I grouped them together into sort of similar-ish veins, and this is the fun one. This is the one that's sort of fun-spirited, action-adventure, science fiction. What else we got? Science fiction, and action. So I guess that's what I consider fun. I don't know. Yeah, and so these are ones that I've watched actually probably in the past couple of months, and let's talk a little bit about some fun movies, or at least movies Shannon finds fun. And first up we have Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle. So this is from 2017. It is directed by Jake Kasdan, who directed Walk Hard, which I've never seen, and several episodes of Freaks and Geeks, which I did see, but I saw it after the fact. I did enjoy it, but I think I really like the time that it captured, but I think I'm surprised I didn't see it when it came out. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, I probably didn't have cable at the time. That's often where my TV voids are. Anyway, so I'm distracted already. So this stars Dwayne Johnson, Kevin Hart, Karen Gillan, who I never remember what I know her from, which is Guardians of the Galaxy. I know her from several things, but I never pieced together that she's in Guardians of the Galaxy. Rhys Darby, Alex Wolff, Sir Darius Blaine, Madison Isman, and Morgan Turner. So this, oh my gosh, this was so much fun. So this is, I mean, it's really an adventure movie. I guess you can put it into science fiction or fantasy if you want, but it's not really that. Like, technically, yes, but I don't know. It doesn't really matter. For me, it's adventure. I like adventure movies. It's exactly, without question. I can't remember what the definition of an adventure film is on the top of my head, but it's like you have to like literally like achieve through quests or puzzles. You have to solve puzzles or do a quest, and I can't remember. I'll leave it down below. And anyway, but this is exactly that. And I actually never had seen the original Jumanji. It wasn't a good age fit for me. It felt young for whatever age I was, and so I was like, that's not cool. Now I don't care about stuff like that. But you know, when I was younger, I did, and now I don't. And I love this. This was so much fun. It's funny because I had started watching it a couple of years ago, and for me, it took a while to get going to where I thought it was going to be. So I got frustrated. And then, you know, from hearing from other people that it's a lot of fun, and also it's got The Rock in it, and I'm a huge fan of The Rock. So I decided to give it a go, and I loved it. And this is definitely, in particular, a really good fit for anyone who enjoys gaming of any ilk, but specifically video gaming, because there's a lot of sort of references and meta things that are just so much like more fun if you've been a gamer at any point. So that I really appreciated as well. Made me want to get a bit back into gaming. I haven't done a lot of gaming recently. So yeah, this, I don't even want to say what the premise is. I think people generally know what the sort of premise of this movie is, but you know, it takes on a lot of fun things in terms of gaming and adventure and quests and needing to achieve things and understand things and moving forward and doing things, and I thought it actually had like a lot of opportunity for doing things that you're not comfortable with, not in a bad way but in a growing way, and I really appreciate that, and I certainly didn't expect that from this movie at all. So it was a huge win. So guess what the next movie is? Jumanji: The Next Level. Yes, I watched the sequel. So this came out in 2019, also directed by Jake Kasdan, and includes the original cast plus Awkwafina and is that really? I'm not. That's what it looks like. Awkwafina, I think so. And Nick Jonas. And I'm not going to say more than that. This was again just fun, and sequels they're not always hits, right? Like sometimes there's just sort of reprisals of the same stuff and it's okay and like whatever. No, this builds, and I really appreciated it. And again, I thought the character development and the individuality and the opportunity for growth was awesome. It was so awesome. So that's really what I got from it. Plus, this again, the gaming nods and some funny reprisals from the first film, but it also, both of them have a lot of heart, which is something that may or may not be in. I think it often is in adventure movies, but it isn't always, and it's something that I really appreciate. So I liked it. It felt earnest, but goofy, and just, I don't know, just and funny, and they really are funny. So yeah, I actually do not have too much to say about it. It was a big surprise, and I got so much out of watching both of them. They're definitely instant rewatch type movies for me, and so that was fun, totally fun. Then we move on back in time into Teenagers from Outer Space. Now this one's from 1959. It's directed by Tom Graff. Oh, I forgot to look up other films that they directed. The cast includes David Love, Don Bender, Brian Grant, and Harvey B. Dunn. I will leave links to all of the film's IMDb pages down below. And this one, I will also leave a link to Internet Archive because it is part of the public domain. So if you can't gather from this is a science fiction B-movie. They blast the flesh off humans. Teenage hoodlums from another planet on a horrendous ray gun rampage. Now, with many movies of this time, I would say that the posters and the taglines do not necessarily fit what's actually going on in the movie. I certainly did not feel like the teenagers from outer space were hoodlums at all. Like, I just really wasn't, like, one of them was quite forceful, but they were, like, the premise is that they're from another world, they're looking for a planet to use kind of like a farm. Basically that's it. So they don't, I can't remember if they don't care or if they don't let on that there's actually people living there, or they don't notice, but it's actually, they just want to use it to farm things that they can eat. So, and there is an interesting sort of like moral struggle, kind of like very minor, but like, it got the plot going in between like some of the most of the teenagers blindly following the whatever, I can't remember what it's called, but like the rules. They had and then someone else breaking out from that and wanting to, do something different and caring about not just us, but other people, or if there are other people, and those kinds of things. So it was okay. I've watched a lot of movies like this. I'm working through, I actually can't remember. I think this is on I have 250 film packs, mostly public domain films. One is science fiction and one is horror, and I'm working through to finish them off. Often I watch the movies when I'm pretty tired, often they're pretty short. This one I don't think was. I think it was like an hour. It was almost 2 hours. I can't remember off the top of my head. But, there was some romance because the teenager that broke away with things sort of, made friends with a girl in town and that kind of stuff. And it was actually, there was lots of sort of like leading up to, there was lots of moments where they led you knowing things were going to go horribly wrong. So that was actually pretty fun to watch. But it wasn't my favorite of the B movies that I've seen. I actually thought it would be a little bit better. I really think the thing that didn't work with this one is they didn't feel like teenagers. Like they felt like they felt like a scout mission group, from outer space. There wasn't really much that resembled that they were teenagers. The people on Earth felt like teenagers, but not the people from outer space. So anyway, it was fun. It wasn't great, teenagers from outer space. Let me know if you've seen it or if you will see it. It probably is on YouTube because, as I said, it's public domain, which means it's like the copyright has expired or never existed, and so you can view it if you should desire. Next up we have Skylines. Okay, so this is the second sequel to Skyline. There was Skyline and Beyond Skyline, which I did a film vlog of watching both of those in part of my film series catch-up, which I will link up above for you to enjoy. It was really fun to do that. And Skylines is the third film in the series. It's a science fiction series about alien well, the first one's about alien invasion. This is from 2020. It was directed by Liam O'Donnell. It stars Lindsay Morgan, Jonathan Howard, Daniel Bernhardt, Rona Mitra, who is awesome to see, Alexander Siddig, who is awesome to see, and there's a great cameo role, reprisal role from the second film by Yayan Ruhan. He's an Indonesian martial artist that is in the Raid films. He's awesome. And so this one, I can't say too much about it because it is the third, and the second film is quite different from the first, so I'm not going to say too much, but this is very much science fiction action centric. Like, that's really the goal, or the gist of it. I will say that I'm a little embarrassed to say this, but I couldn't always follow what was going on. Like, I couldn't follow what they were doing and why, and where they were going for what. So, and I wasn't distracted when I was watching it. I was watching it. So I'm a little embarrassed to say that, but it was true. One of the things I actually really, really loved about this film was, I felt like there was a statement about inclusivity in it. And that I thought was really cool, and that's a bit of a carryover from the second film. So I appreciate that. It wasn't huge, like it wasn't everyone feeling this way, but I thought it was an interesting approach to it, and I appreciated it. So there was that. It was fun, and I liked some of the action, and just like Beyond Skyline, it has a great sequence of the credits where they go through a lot of the stunts and the goofs and stuff, which was really fun to see. But I definitely, without question, the second film is my favorite, without question. And I enjoy the first one, but the first one's very different. The first one has a very much more drama, horror kind of vibe to it, and both Beyond Skyline and Skylines are much more action oriented. And Beyond Skyline, like, it was like I didn't expect to see a sequel, and then it was so good. And then this one, it was interesting, but I just felt like I couldn't always follow what was going on, which isn't great. So anyway, I did enjoy it. It is available on Netflix here in Canada. That's how I watched it. And yeah, so action, science fiction, I'm pretty much always going to watch. Next up to the rewatches, Swamp Thing. So I mentioned this in one of my recent vlogs because I did read one of the saga of Swamp Thing, I think, which was the reprisal, the 80s reprisal, and then I can't remember. I'm not sure exactly. So Swamp Thing is from, I forgot, Swamp Thing is from 1982. It's directed by Wes Craven, who directed Nightmare on Elm Street, Hills Have Eyes 1 and 2, Scream 1 through 4, and the cast includes Adrienne Barbeau, Louis Jordan, Ray Wise, who I couldn't place initially, and David Hess. Now, this is one that I enjoyed the rewatch so much. I was really tired when I rewatched it, but it was the perfect, Saturday afternoon movie, and it's a movie that I'd seen when I was a kid a fair amount, and I was surprised at how much I remembered, and I just had so much fun watching it. It really, it's a horror action with some comedy. I was surprised at, I couldn't tell, there were lots of great practical effects, both physical stuff, transformation stuff. There's the Swamp Thing creature. They're pretty, they're practical effects, and it's from the 80s, so it's not seamless always, but some of them are really impressive. And so this one, the theory is, Adrienne Barbeau was like, I actually don't remember if they ever say what her job was. I don't remember if she was a scientist or a government person, but she goes to the swamp, and they're tracking experiments or something, and then something goes wrong, Swamp Thing, and then action, adventure, chaos kind of stuff. I was like, even now, I don't even remember the plot that much, because there's so many things that I liked about it. I liked the action elements. It was a bit more schlocky than I remember it, but that's probably because I watched it when I was young. And but there are some romantic suspense elements of it that I quite enjoyed, and also I really liked her character. She was not a wallflower at all, and I really loved that as well. So that was really, it was quite a fun rewatch, and yeah, and so I'm glad that I did, and I had it. I actually own it because I'm sure, why wouldn't I buy Swamp Thing? Of course I have Swamp Thing. No, really, that should not have surprised me. Next up, we have The Karate Kid Part 2, and this is from 1986. It is directed by John G. Avildsen, who directed Karate Kid Part 1, 2, and 3, Rocky 1 and 5, and Lean on Me. And it stars, of course, Ralph Macchio and Pat Morita. This one I rewatched because I've been watching Cobra Kai, and there was a certain part where it felt like it might be good to refresh my memory, and it was on Netflix, so I was like, sure, let's go with this. And so I rewatched it. This is a movie I wasn't sure how well I would remember it, but overall, I actually remembered it quite well. There was only one thing that I was like, had always wondered, why did they do this? Or that seems like it was a little strange. And then when I watched this one, I'm like, oh, they actually totally explained that. And I missed it. So, learning can happen at any time. But yeah, I actually quite enjoyed this one, much more than I expected. I liked it almost as much as the original. I liked the message that it had. I liked the setting. I thought it was quite touching in terms of the relationships that it showed in it, and overall I was like, wow, yeah, no, really like it. So that was a nice rewatch. It's funny, the two rewatches I did were so different from each other, like Swamp Thing versus Karate Kid, but I both enjoyed, I enjoyed this. I'm not gonna lie, I enjoyed Swamp Thing so much more because, I don't know, there's just something over the top and kind of ridiculous, but you just kind of go there and just, yeah, and it really reminded me of sort of like where some of the roots of my love of sort of like B movies or romantic suspense or action movies, like over the top sort of action kind of stuff, and not realistic super action stuff. And definitely the science fiction stuff is not very realistic. Who knows? I don't know. Maybe it is at this point, but it's just sort of like fun and over the top, which I really appreciate. And then on the other hand, Karate Kid 2 is kind of, I would say arguably it's more of a drama. Like it's really more about relationships and learning and like development of relationships, and there's a lot of emotions in this one, which is a great thing too. So yeah, they're very different from each other, but I enjoyed both of them. I enjoyed most of these, like a fair amount, so it was a pretty good set. I definitely think, for me, I do love adventure movies and adventure books. I think it's something that's a little underrepresented. We get very much into the action sort elements of it, but I really like adventure, and and so they're usually paired together, action and adventure. But yeah, but not all action movies are adventure movies, although most adventure movies have elements of action movies. So there you go. There are some of the movies that I have seen recently. I will be back soon in another video. Thanks for watching.